Hey man, what's up? It's Cool Water, the digital dope man, here from Barroom Chats podcast, where we talk about things in the area of business, entertainment, politics, culture, and education. A friend of mine made a statement to me about a video she saw on Instagram, and it was relative to women who don't have, I think the title of the video was Trash Pussy or something like that, is what the girl was talking about. Women who don't have good sex and can't keep a man. And I heard the girl talk of, well, she said she wasn't familiar with the topic because she don't have that issue, which is relative, I guess, in her demographic or industry that she's in. You know, she looked a little hood. I don't know if she was a stripper or not or whatever, but so my response to my friend when she mentioned something about here's a topic for you to talk about was, I don't talk about those topics because that's not in my niche market, which my niche market is business, culture, entertainment, politics, and education. So what brought me to doing this podcast was I stumbled upon another classic video from Dr.Claud Anderson, who was in Philadelphia, who works with Dr. Boyce Watkins in the Black Business Network, the Black Business School. And they talk about things that you relatively don't hear and won't hear on mainstream radio, TV, news, what have you. Now, for those people that don't who know Dr.Claud Anderson is, Dr.Claud Anderson is the inventor or the creator of the term powernomics, which is basically teaching black folks how to acquire power through economics. He has an extensive resume where he's worked for mayors, governors, presidents, ran campaigns for mayors, governors, presidents, been at the head of education in Florida, where he wrote the first affirmative action plan for the state of Florida. Also helped FAMU get a lot of money, helped create jobs, was over the something relative to relative to economics and black banks, where he forced them to have to put some money into black banks, dealing with people who had something going on. And I had to listen to that particular part. So what touched my nerve, because I've told you all, I have a lecture that I wrote, and it's called The African American Entrepreneur's Holocaust, with the theme being who killed the black entrepreneur. And I'm trying to make sure I'm on point. This is one of the reasons why I told my friend that I focus and stay on topic, which is niche markets. The niche markets relative to the ones I listed earlier. Business, culture, politics, entertainment, education. He said some stuff that was very, very profound. Now I got all his books. Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, which is a cult classic. If you ain't never read that and you really want to understand how this game is being played, go get Black Labor, White Wealth. I have not reread the book, and I bought that book probably about 3 to 4 years ago. But it is so intensive when it comes to looking at the black demographic as it relates to immigrants, as it relates to politics, civil rights, other cultures, just the historical background of how we got in this condition. He did a phenomenal job. Like, Dude done sold on the low probably over 20 or 30 million books, and probably more than that. Because like he was saying, he got a call from, I don't know if it was Sweden, one of those countries, that his information had been shared on over 250,000 websites. Now, he ain't on New York Times best-selling list because you don't hear nothing about him, or it will be more popular because he talking black economics and black power. Same way Minister Farrakhan. A lot of his books, he done sold millions of copies of How to Eat to Live by Elijah Muhammad, How to Eat to Live Part 2, which I think Mr. Farrakhan wrote, Message to a Black Man, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Part 1, Part 2. Shoot, man, the list goes on. The Synagogue of Satan, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. There's millions of books that have been sold over the 50 or 60 years that the minister been preaching, and he ain't on New York Times bestseller list. So Claude is iconic in his own right because he's the only black person who's been in politics and business that actually came down from off the mountaintop to tell black people how the game was really being played. So as I listened to this particular video, he went into a couple of instances where, one, he started waterland fisheries, and waterland fisheries was supposed to produce 6 million pounds of freshwater fish, I guess, per month or year. No antibiotics, no chemicals, nothing. And from there, start the vertical integration process, which is going from producing the fish to warehousing the fish, manufacturing the fish, to retailing the fish, to getting the fish out to restaurants. So he went around to a couple of business associates, one of which being one of the head VPs for Red Lobster, and they was all in. He had about 4 or 5 other people that was all in to purchase their fish from him because he was going to produce freshly grown organic fish with no bacteria, chemicals, or what have you. So over the course of 4 or 5 years, black folks and none of these black restaurants that he was committed bought any of the fish that was needed. So he lost $6 million in the process. He moving. This is capitalism. This is entrepreneurship. This is how you play the game to win. You gonna go for broke, or you just gonna be sitting on the sideline talking about I was doing my affirmations and my visualization techniques because I know it's coming. You either gonna be about the business or you're gonna be about the dream. So he lost $6 million. Where the story turns ugly is that the bank, which was a bank called Harbor Bank, which I guess is somewhere out there in the D.C., Maryland, Philadelphia area, and they must have a set of branches across the country, foreclosed on him. They didn't take none of the equipment. They didn't take none of the fish. They didn't take none of the whales that was producing the fresh water. They didn't do none of that. They just wanted to foreclose. Now, here's a black bank supposedly ran by black people foreclosing on a black man who's trying to produce black economic wealth for black people. You understand what I'm saying to you? So in the end, they ends up selling millions of dollars worth of fish, tools, equipment to white farmers, to a white farmer, I believe, for $100,000. The $1 million worth of fish was sold, or no, I think the tools were sold for like $5,000. They just offed it to get it off the books, right? When they could have went and sold it. He had somebody that wanted to buy a dude, was like, I'll give you $1 million for it. They didn't want his money. They just wanted to take the pleasure in running this nigga through the mud. Now, Anderson is probably about between 80, I'm going to say between 75 and 84 years of age. According to what I seen in one of the books, I think he was born in 1935, which will make him about 84. So he up and running, he ain't old and decrepitated, he on the move. You can't tell. I didn't even know he was that old. I mean, you see it in some of the videos. But they wanted to run him through the mud. So after they sold off everything, then they went after him and sued him for $600,000. Now here's a black bank loaned him $6 million, foreclosed on him, because I'm pretty sure he put up, he probably put up 20% of that. $6 million, he probably put up, 2, 3, 4, 500,000. Foreclosed on the man, went after him, sued him for $600,000. And then they tried to drag him for 2 years when he fought back. Because, you got to have the money to be in the course. He ain't had the money to keep running with these folks like that. So he took an L, right? Which means he probably got a lien on him, And from what he said, after doing the research, the black bank was a front for a white corporation that really owned and controlled the majority interest of the bank, which is something I said in the past anyway. Most of these banks, black banks, ain't owned by black folks. They owned by white folk, and the lion's share of the ownership is in the favor of white interests. Straight up. So you got the sellout ass niggas inside the banks working because they don't want to see you prospering. They don't want to see you building. They don't want to see you getting rich. Now, this goes hand in hand with a lot of these movies you see where you see the nigga cooning and licking the master's ass, the slave master's ass, to get a couple scraps off the table. So here this brother out here doing what he said and putting into practice what he preaching. You got to read the books and understand why I'm touched by this why I'm touched by this video. You got to read the books. I'm reading one right now. He got 2 history books, Black History Readers, Dirty Little Secrets by some heroes and troublemakers, if I'm not mistaken. And let me see. It says, this is part 2. I guess 2 of them. More Dirty Little Secrets, a Black History. It's about Black history. More Dirty Little Secrets about Black history. It's Heroes and Other Troublemakers, Volume 2. Now, he got part 1 out, too. Both of them cold. Like, you talk about a restructuring of the mind and understanding what we call African American history. Dude went way beyond. So here he is getting sued by a black bank, supposedly, when they could have settled off the asset that they had acquired and got their money back. No, they didn't want to do that. So now he moves on from there and goes to try to open up a black business district in the city of Detroit, Michigan. Everybody know Detroit bankrupt. Everybody know Detroit is a 92% black city. But the key is that, like all urban cities in America, it's ran by the immigrants. It's ran by white folks. It's ran by Arabs. It's ran by Asians. It's ran by Pakistanians, East Indians, all these folks. So the Arabs, from what I'm understanding, got 144 gas stations out of 146. And they also own package stores. They also own some check cash in places. Then you got, the Asians who got the nail salons and the grocery stores. Then you got the East Indians who got the ice cream parlors. And the list goes on and on and on. Beauty supply stores. The Asians got the beauty supply store. So on and on and on. So he went and bought, I think it was like 40 acres or 42 acres of land, and had a signature guaranteed 1,000 black business owners who was going to move from all over the country to Detroit. The niggas on the city council, though, had 2 sellout ass niggas on the city council. It's 9 people on the city council, 4 in favor of starting a black business district, 5 was not in favor of starting a black business district, apparently, because he got voted out. Not only that, they notified the white folk from the suburbs who been sucking on the titty of Detroit and making their money because niggas is coming out there spending their money in the suburbs. Notified all the immigrants, and the immigrants that owned these stores came down there and threw a fit because they were saying he was racist because he wanted to start a black business district and do something for black folk so black folk can acquire real wealth. You see what I'm saying? Boom. Sell out. And this is the type of stuff, aka shit, that anybody who is out here in 2018 is going to endure if you really get passionate about trying to do something for your people and have the knowledge and the skill set to do what he doing. It's going to be so many niggas, man, that don't want to see you prosper and don't want to see the race as a whole prosper because they still licking the balls of white America. And I'm talking candid. Now, I got white friends. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. I got white folk I'm cool with. I ain't a racist. Like, I don't not hate white people. I got white friends. We sit down, chop it up and kick it. But when it come down to dealing with the business at hand, I got an issue because I got to take care of my own right now. My own ain't been taken care of. We've been in such a disarray. We've been in such mass mental incarceration and going through so many issues that sometimes, it's cool to go chop it up with some folks that don't look like you. But at the end of the day, I got to go home and clean my house up because it's dirty. Y'all can't help me with that. You see what I'm saying? So he lost the opportunity to build a black business district based off the fact he wanted to do it for black folks only. Now, if he went multicultural, it'd have been okay. Because then the immigrants could have came in and overran the shit. And everybody could have came in and benefited from the shit. Then maybe he should have did it that way to get it going and then evict their ass and get them up out of there so he could have brought the rest of them niggas in. But that would have caused a huge lawsuit too. He'd have been in the court behind that too. Because everybody working against the black folk that you see out here that's really trying to make something happen and prosper for their own kind. So now he goes from there and tries to make a move in New Orleans, down in Louisiana, down in the Mardi Gras. I don't know if it's Helena or St. Ellen or St. Helen business district, which is all them bars, all them restaurants owned and controlled by white folk. So he finds an area, a spot where he always said he put $20,000 down on a building. He was going to gut it, refurbish it. And it was going to be ice cream parlors. It was going to be a club inside of it. He was going to do all of that. Sellout ass mayor told him, nah, black folk don't need no business. They need low economic housing. Some shit that don't generate no wealth. You see what I'm saying? And this is what you're dealing with when you go out here and try to go for self. Because you're going to have coon after coon after coon after coon. Somebody is going to be somewhere tucked away in some office plotting on how they going to undermine what you doing. And them folk might be talking like they down with the team. But they steadily scratching their own ass saying, how can I uproot this nigga and get this nigga up out of here? I.e., I'll tell you a prime example. Me and the chick I was cool with worked up there at the bank. I'm gonna leave the bank name out of it. We talking about everything. Building, bonding. Building had one incident where we flirted and I must have flirted the wrong way. Next thing I know, I'm getting kicked out the bank. My account's being terminated. I'm told to stay off the property. Sellout ass nigga. Because she could have came to me and talked to me. I mean, as much bonding and hugging and really getting deep about black issues, black economics, black politics as we was doing and having conversation outside of the bank, she could have pulled me to the side. But no. Even though she hollering like she down with black interests, she really working in the interest of white folk. She really working in the interest of making sure that niggas out here ain't finna shine. They not gonna shine. She ain't really down for the cause for real. And God got a funny way of working, and that was probably the reason why it happened the way it did. Cause she'd be the one that mess around and get your whole program discontinued. You see what I'm saying? So here is Dr. Claude Anderson, man, out here practicing powernomics and really trying to build. And after 30 some odd years, he's still hitting these walls. Why? Because you got black folks in high places and low places, cutting him at his ankles, trying to ensure that he don't make nothing happen for black folks, trying to ensure that he don't pass on nothing that's going to be prosperous so that we as a people can do what we need to do. You see what I'm saying? You got an election coming up. Stacey Abrams, she talking. She sounded like she with it. But she got a multicultural agenda for everybody. And when you put cream in coffee, everybody get to taste it, and it's weak. Don't have no strength. You see? You don't have no strength. So it touched me, man, to sit back and hear how this man, who is now pushing 80, over 80, then gave his life to trying to uplift Negroes, and Negroes is in the background working, trying to ensure that he don't get nothing prosperous going. He catching lawsuit after lawsuit. He didn't win and filed a lawsuit on behalf of black folks because the American mulatto Indian received benefits that was also supposed to be allotted to us, but they ain't paid us a dime. We ain't getting no reparations for being enslaved by the five tribes, by the 5 nation tribes: Cherokee, Chickasaw, what is the other one? Cherokee, Chickasaw, I think Seminole, and it's a couple of other ones. I would have to look. But they had us enslaved too, which most people don't even know. You know, the black Indian, a.k.a. American, is not the same as what they call the red man. The red man, the Native American, that's mulatto. He mixed with Asian and black. He came later. He came after, the Asian mixed with the black. That's where you get that. And then he mixed again with the Spanish, the Portuguese, the Dutch. And then they also went back in and mixed after the red man. They mixed back in with the blacks. And then created some other stocks, the Aztecs, the Incas, all those other groups that from ancient times. So here's this man that put his whole life on the line, man, trying to uplift and build and teach us how to acquire power and wealth. But it's niggas in the background who got multicultural interests that ain't in favor. So he go to Detroit, this pole town, Asia town, Pole Town, Chinatown, Little Italy, Little Havana, Little Italy, what else? Greek Town, and a bunch of other towns, man. We ain't got Black Town nowhere in America. You can go to any major city in America, and you got a immigrant population with their own setup. And black folks, the original people that's been in this land since it broke away from the whole entire continent as a whole. So it disturbs me to hear this, because what it lets me know is no matter how hard you try, it's always going to be some nigga in the background cutting up, working on your behalf to ensure your downfall, to ensure your demise. So here this man, he don't have much. He ain't got many more good years left. He ain't got a whole 30, 40 more years, man. He old now. His time is up. And there's no successor. That was the part that really had me. There's no successor to the powernomics movement because nobody seen it, bought into it, stepped in, and wanted to take over. Everybody wanted to, we'll chip in, we'll pay a little bit, but we ain't finna do no work. So to all you black entrepreneurs out there, be leery and be weary are the people you do business with. Because like he was saying, it's a lot of crooks out there. A lot of folks, that black bank, crooking. They didn't even want to sell off the assets that the man had acquired to pay off the debt. They just wanted to get him in a lawsuit so they can go after his assets and defunct whatever he was trying to do. You see, same thing with folks in Detroit. Them two city council members, they're going to always be opposed to doing something relatively for black folks because they bought and paid for. You know, the mayor of New Orleans, same move, bought and paid for. You know, and that's when you see people, man, in office and they didn't attend these universities, man, where white folks is the majority population. They got white interests. And if they smell like you trying to do something, man, that's going to be too much black, they going to go squeal, they're going to go tell. You know, so keep that in mind. The name of the video is Dr.Claud Anderson in Philadelphia at the Fall Black National Convention. I would suggest you go to YouTube and watch that. Again, because it's heart-filling to hear how this man had put up millions of dollars to try to get it going and get us off the ground based off of industries like the fish industry, the leather industry, but it's niggas in the background cutting. They scheming. They doing everything in their power to ensure that he don't bubble and neither do you. You did? So go check that out, man. Hey, look here. It's Cool Water, the digital dope man. You can check me out at ishiphopdead.com. ishiphopdead.com. Also, you can look for me at the digitaldopeman.com. You know, where we just gonna keep coming with this raw, funky conversation, this real content in a digital format. That's gonna keep you intrigued. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about education and application and putting this stuff to use so you can pull yourself up and really begin to see some type of power and control over what you're doing. Peace. Holla.